Welcome back, everyone, to Norton Man Reviews. I am John Norton, and I am continuing to look through my comics, my self-published, self-made comic that I did, Bliss, number 3. I went through issues number 1 and 2, explaining those issues, going into detail about my thoughts and my whatever. So I'm continuing on with issue number 3. Starting off with this cover, I wanted to do something kind of an homage to old school comics of, where you put some of the like dialogue or word bubbles or something on like the cover, just as a kind of a funny thing to grab somebody's attention. I think it's kind of fun and kind of works. And who is the man in the cell? It's this guy here. This is Bliss. This is the main character. I did the pencils and inks on this, obviously. And I could have done some better stuff with this, like lighting going on here. My buddy, Jesse Roundy, he did the colors on this. He did a pretty good job. Like the colors on this hair here kind of look weird to me, but I kind of I think he did the best he could based on my art, and not traditionally like drawing with having a colors in mind, since I'm like specifically black and white for the most part, especially back then. I wasn't drawing for him to like know how to color some of these parts in, so he did the best he could. But I like the lighting that he did. I like this. Like the light that's coming in through the room, reflecting off her there and kind of showing it like the chin. Like I didn't indicate like this kind of stuff at all. So I think he did some really cool stuff there. And like the coloring on his suit and the shading, all good stuff. I think some of the line work that I did could have been better, but I like it. So, getting like this, we'll talk about the story. So I've always done a kind of an homage to like old school comics where they put kind of just a basic brief description of what the book is, what the story is, and who the character is. With no memory of her past and gifted with incredible strength and fighting abilities, a young woman fights for survival in a world of strange mystery. She is Bliss. To this day, I think I started that with the second issue, and I still do that with every issue I do of hers, and I'm up to almost issue 9. And then starting last issue, I did previously in Bliss, which I got from the X-Men animated series. And here I started taking some screenshots or copy and pasting some of the art and just putting it on here to show what was going on. That goes in line with the description here. In later issues, I get more in depth. I put more more in depth art from the previous issues. But for the story, for those who haven't been following or watched the last 2 videos I did on this, this is just a recap, and it says, walking in a diner, an amnesiac, Bliss begins picking up the pieces of her life, but soon she was confronted by a man calling himself the Red Squire, who blamed Bliss for his ruined life. Red Squire was this kind of superhero Robin from Batman and Robin kind of knockoff, but he was violent and he was vengeful and he was trying to kill her. After fighting him off, the Red Squire vowed to take his vengeance on her wherever she was. So to make quick money to leave the city, Bliss took a waitress job at Angelica's strip club. Angelica is Bliss's friend, who's a stripper at a strip club. While there, Bliss learned of a man who was eliminating members of a cult that had the same skull tattoo as the Red Squire. And Bliss, the Red Squire had this, I don't have it anywhere, but it's this like skull tattoo. And she had seen that from people like trying to like kill her before. So anybody who has that skull tattoo are like bad guys, part of this, like some kind of cult. And she learned that there was a guy who was like killing these people, like eliminating this cult. So she's like, okay, if like these cult members are after me, I should talk to this guy who knows about them. Maybe he knows something that can help me. So Bliss decided that she needed to speak with him to get more information on who was trying to kill her, right? Dot, dot, dot. There's the logo. I just threw in the logo. I was inspired by Danger Girl, the Danger Girl logo. John Norton creator. I did everything. I'm the creator, writer, penciler, inker, and letter. My buddy does the colors. It's all black and white. Maybe eventually I want to try to do a Kickstarter to reprint these issues into a single thick book and see if I can get enough money from a Kickstarter to pay a colorist to do it. That would be pretty awesome. So, hey, you guys, you can follow me on Facebook at Norton Man and Art and Comics, or on Instagram, Norton Man Art. Don't follow me on Twitter, or X as it's called, because I never did anything with that anyways. I thought it was silly and dumb and I never liked it. So do that. And hey, while you're at it, give this video a like, because, I would like that. So the first page, and like I did in the previous 2 issues at the very beginning, I always put a quote in there that has the word bliss in it in some way. So this one is: the highest form of bliss is living with a certain degree of folly. So here she is. She's in this room. She's all done up nice. She's pretty. Wearing these glasses that she doesn't really wear. Has this file in his hand, and here's the guy. Handcuffed to the table. So this is her visiting him while he's in jail, because he was not abducted. He was arrested. So he's in jail now. So that's the only way she knew how to get in touch with him. I wasn't original. So this guy, Kyle Sills, I kind of explained this in my previous videos of these issues. I had him kind of show up in the background of every single, he's in every single comic in some way, shape, or form, because he was originally like my main character, and he still is in a way. He was the guy I had him in my mind in some variation since like 6th grade. He's heavily based on me, my look, my sense of humor, my style, my tastes in everything. He's just kind of a representation of me, right? But he's just like way cooler and handsomer and does everything 1,000 times better than I do. It's like my fantasy of what would be cool, right? And Bliss here was like just a secondary character of kind of a love interest in the stories that I had for such a long time. But when I decided to start doing these comics, like I had more of a premise for her of being an amnesiac, having a cool title, something that the readers could follow, where I didn't really know where I was going with the stories with him. Like he was a basic vigilante, kind of fights crime, kills bad guys kind of a thing, but why and what is he doing? I don't really know. I never really got into some of that stuff. So I instead of doing something with him, I decided to go with her. And now at this point, Bliss and him are kind of like on equals in my mind of my characters. But as I was doing these issues, so like each issue took me about a year to do, right? So a couple of years, and I'm doing something specifically focusing on her, which was very fun for me to do. But I was kind of missing him. Like I'm like, I miss my friend, I miss my guy. So I originally he wasn't going to be in any of these issues in this, besides just some like cameos in the background. But I decided to make him more of a part of the story. And I think I did that. I came up with this idea of her visiting him here. I think I was watching the Daredevil Netflix series, and it was a very similar scene. I don't know who was talking to who in a room like this. I think it was Foggy and Murdoch talking to maybe Karen is her name in a room like this. I'm like, that's kind of, I think I was inspired by this. So anyways, that's the setup, and that's what was like kind of the characters in my mindset. So here she is. She's like, so Mr. Kyle Sills, and he doesn't know who she is. She's like, who are you? And she responds, I'm your lawyer. And he's like, no, you're not my lawyer. And again, she doesn't know who he is, what he's about. She just knows that this guy is dangerous. He's potentially dangerous. He could, he's been killing people. He's a vigilante. She doesn't know like his temperament or anything about him. But she's going to learn really quick what his temperament is. So he says, "You're not my lawyer." It's like, "Well, yes, your lawyer is sick today and asked me to come see you for some follow-up questions." No, she didn't. She did, actually. I guarantee you she did not. What makes you say that? Because my lawyer never gets sick, and he's a dude. So he kind of caught her in a lie. When he said, no, she didn't, she kind of followed up like, oh, yeah, she did. No, because she's a guy, and I know you're lying now. So he's like, that means one of two things. You're either here to break me out, or you're here to kill me. So he's like, you would only lie in here to do one of these two things. And she says, well, which of those do you think I'm here to do? Well, whichever it is, I'm either going to be very nervous or very amused. So he's like, he doesn't, it's going to be fun if she tries to kill him, or nervous if she's trying to break him out. She said, that was a trick question. I'm actually neither. Well, maybe I gave you a trick answer. She's like, what? He's like, what? He's just kind of fucking with her. I gave you a trick question. Yeah, well, I gave you a trick answer. So she kind of just gives him a look like, oh, whatever. And she says, I'm not actually here to free you or kill you. Oh, no shit. And she tells him, I need a way to get close to you to ask you some questions. And he starts kind of doing this like flirty thing with her, kind of like, I don't know. He's like, maybe you should have used the old conjugal visit excuse, if that is even still a thing. And she's like, not in regular jail, just in prison, I think. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So they're just kind of having some like banter back and forth. And I try to do like some like real life kind of conversations. I try to mimic that in my writing and my dialogue. She's like, well, anyways, I need some information. She tells him about how she read about him in the newspaper. And here's a funny thing. In most of my writing, especially involving him, and as you can tell in my videos, I swear a lot. Like, I like to say fuck quite a bit. But in these Bliss comics, I try to tone it down. I try to make it PG-13, kind of make it a little bit, not for all ages because PG-13, but, not really restricted. So I wasn't really going to put the F word in there at all. But I did here, and I didn't even realize it. Like, I wrote it, I typed it in, I did the lettering on it, I printed it, I must have read it a million times, and then it wasn't until later I'm like, oh, I did have him like a swear word saying fuck in it, fucking. He says, the Reaper Covenant, the guys I shot in the fucking face, that's just how he talks. It was just so natural for me to like write it like that. So he identified these guys. The Reaper Covenant is what they are. What do you know about them? Well, let me tell you something about these assholes. If you had half an idea of who they are and what they've done, you would be thanking me for what I did to them. And who are they exactly and what do they want? He's like, good question. There have been rumors they're looking for an old artifact. Some say key. But, a key to what? Hard to say. But in every case, they seem to be targeting young women. So they're going after young women who they think have this key. And she is kind of remembering in this picture the key that she found or she had on her when she woke up in the diner with no memory. What's this key to? So, they're called the Reaper Covenant, and it was revealed in the last issue that there was this person out there in the world called the Dragon Reaper. Just a very scary guy and scary individual. And he's basically a superhero assassin. What does the Reaper, the Dragon Reaper, have to do with her? And, the Reaper Covenant. So it's this like covenant who, I'm going to explain. I'm getting ahead of myself. So as she's remembering this, she's like, I take it you've run into them before, and she doesn't really say anything. It's like, well, consider yourself lucky. Most people haven't survived the experience. Fewer for those who have that have run into the one that they worship, the Dragon Reaper. Oh my God, my dogs are barking. Hold on. Damn dogs. So where was I? The Dragon Reaper is real, she asks. Because she's heard of them, and I try to make the Dragon Reaper kind of an urban myth, like somebody that like everyday people, not just like superhero people, would know about, would hear about. And he's like, so she's asking about the Dragon Reaper. He's like, yeah, well, wait a minute. Who are you again? And she says, my name is Bliss. He's like, uh-huh. And what newspaper did you read me about in? And she says, "Rise Up Lights News." And this is just, I put in here, it has nothing to do with because I think it's funny. And I heard this on like Facebook somewhere. He's like, "Rise Up Lights." And he starts to tell her, "Did you know that when you say that out loud, it sounds like you're saying razor blades in an Australian accent? Rise up lights, rise up lights, rise up lights." So he says, "Try it." She's like, "What? Rise up lights? Rise up lights. Rise up lights. See? Australian accent. You can share that with your friends," he tells her. So she's, again, she's finding his temperament. He's kind of jokey. He's kind of silly. He's not like this dangerous creep person that I was kind of, trying to put him in the shadows initially. Like, you don't really see his face. You don't know really what he's about. But as he talks more, you kind of get like the sense of like, okay, this guy's not a threat, really, right? So then she notices, like the cops are kind of hovering around the door, like, what's going on in here? Is she really a lawyer? Should we be doing this? So he says, "Okay, look, before the cops bust in here and start wondering who you really are, I'll tell you something about the covenant." He says, "I like this picture, and I know I had to redraw this initially. Like, I drew it, and it didn't look right. And so I actually cut it. Like, this is before I do everything digitally now, but I used to do on traditional. And I actually cut out a piece of paper, drawing paper, and I think put it on the page. I can't remember. I still have like the original art of there, and it just looked a lot worse. I try to keep everything in continuity. I try to keep her on the left, him on the right. So, when it's like even from the beginning, on the right, on the left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So it's like you as the viewer, the reader, don't get lost. You're not confused. It's always left, right, left, right. Try to change some things up, keeping them in shadows, kind of reverse shot like you see in movies, all that kind of stuff. So even though he's handcuffed, he puts his hand on hers, just kind of in a comforting manner. Again, he was kind of being flirty at first, and he's flirty down here a little bit more, but he's just like, "Hey, listen to me for a second." And he says, like, they're a fanatical and ruthless group with a blind devotion. And he's like, if you're on their radar, it must mean something very important, and they're going to go after you and kill you and your friends and your family until they get what they want. And he doesn't know anything about her. He doesn't know what she can do, how strong she is, anything like that. He's like, if I were you, I would stay low and stay hidden and keep as much distance between you and them as possible before you get hurt. And she says, "I can take care of myself." Okay, whatever, bro. All I'm saying is be careful around them. She's like, "Thanks for the advice. Good luck in jail." So she takes her hand away. It's like, "Okay, thanks." And so he kind of continues, like, "Just so we're clear, this isn't a conjugal visit, right?" And she kind of fucks with him, joking, "Maybe next time." He says, "Because your outfit is really working for me. I'll bet." To the outfit. "See you around." She leaves. And he says her name out loud, Bliss. And he's reminded, for whatever reason, he looks at the tattoo on his arm right now, there. And as I said, like, I made this guy, I based him off of me, his look and everything. So his tattoo there, I got the same thing right there. These were designs that my brother Rob on his channel, Rob Norton, he had designed for this like kind of sci-fi idea that he had and that I had worked on with him for a while when we were younger, when I was in high school and younger than that. And it was a cool idea, and it was something that we ultimately just kind of moved on from, and probably, I don't know if we'll ever do anything with, but I always liked these ideas. And so one day I just like got this tattooed on me. This was my first tattoo. It's not a very good tattoo, but people were like, "Oh, don't you want to like change it or fix it or make it look better?" I'm like, "No, it's just a part of me. It's what it is." So anyways, so I gave him this same tattoo, and I kept the same design on some other things, which will show up in other issues. And it also, on the sword that she had in the first issue, had these same symbols on the blade. So they're connected somehow. And he probably knows a little bit more than he's leading on. So she's leaving. I like this picture. Probably reference it from something. I definitely reference this. Just a Google search. And here's her friend Angelica who's waiting for her. She's like, you got what you need? And she's like, no, not really. But, you know, I kind of have a better idea of what I'm dealing with. She's like, so what's next? And Bliss is like, I don't know. My mind is like swimming with questions. She's like, okay, well, tell you what. Let's go work out. Like, let's go to the gym. And then maybe things will clear your head. And as they're driving off, somebody's watching them. Somebody's following them, and this says, target sighted, standing by for confirmation. So what's going on, right? So we're at the gym, and it's called the Damn It Gym. I'd drawn this picture of the gym from the outside as a scene change, right? And when I was doing the lettering, I was like, what should I call this gym? And I just put as I'm lettering, because I do a lettering program, right? And I just said, like, damn it, Jim, like from McCoy from Star Trek. He's always saying, damn it, Jim. But it's like, damn it, up the calories or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a name. Maybe I should make it a name. It's like Henry Dammit or something who owns the gym. And so I don't know, but damn it, Jim. That was a funny little gag that I still think is funny. So it's Bliss and Angelica. They're talking and she's like, oh my God, you're right. I know. That's so funny. Rise Up Lights. So Bliss is telling her about the Rise Up Lights joke that Kyle had told her. And he's like, tell your friends. He's like, okay, so did he tell you anything about the Covenant? And he's like, nothing really. We were interrupted, but he was hitting on me the whole time. And she kind of says, well, don't mention that to Dwayne, the other guy that she's been friends with. He's like, I think he's got a crush on you. So her and Dwayne, they've been kind of having like this budding little romance. But she's kind of like, oh, what are you talking about? He's just a friend. He's a buddy. He's like, yeah, but I've seen the way he looks at you. He's like, okay, whatever. So then she starts talking about like vigilantes and superheroes. It's just weird. And Angelica is kind of explaining, like, yeah, well, the world is strange and dangerous. And maybe it could do with more superheroes. And she's like, oh, no, you're not going to suggest what I think you are. She's like, why not? I think you can handle it. So there's something that I was trying to do throughout the book. Like, I put these arm things on her, and in the last issue, I put, like, a headband on her. There's little things that go forward that, and, like, she has the wraps on her hand here. Like when she ultimately has like an outfit at the end, which will show in the end of the series, you can see that she was kind of like getting some ideas of what she wanted to be wearing. So anyways, Angelica's telling her like, yeah, you can be a superhero. She's like, you want me to dress up in a cape and costume? Like, that doesn't make sense. She's like, yeah, but what about Kyle? He's doing some good in the world. And yeah, now he's in jail. She's like, yeah, but you can do it in a different way. And it's like the Dragon Reaper. Like, you can do it like the Dragon Reaper, even though he was killing superheroes, he used stealth, stuck to the shadows, attacked from the darkness. She's like, you could do that so easily. You could stay out of the spotlight. So, this is kind of funny. So, Bliss is fucking strong here. And this is like a moment for me to show like how strong that she is. And this probably doesn't even show like how, like her maximum strength. But while they're working out, she's just like, I don't know how. Fuck, I forget. Obviously, I don't work out that much, but these weights, how much are each of these? And how many does she have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And she just lifts it like it's nothing, just right over her head. And all these guys are just like in shock. Now, when a few years ago, during COVID, I was sitting at home on Christmas, I think, around Christmas, watching Wonder Woman 1984. Not a great movie. Oh, Rusty's here. He's over there somewhere. He'll show up. But not a great movie, Wonder Woman 1984, right? I mean, it has Gal Gadot in it, who I think is incredibly hot. She does a great job as Wonder Woman, so I will watch it just because of her. But they did the same thing where the Cheetah Lady. Is her name just Cheetah? I want to see Chitara, but that's Thundercats. But she did the same thing in the gym. She just lifted this up over her head in that movie, in a gym like this, with all these guys gawking in amazement and shock and awe. I did it first. Someone must have grabbed my comic at a convention, showed it to the director, I forget her name, Patty Jenkins, and she stole that from me. I will go to my grave with that. Not really, because I don't really think that. It's just, you know, it is what it is. Hey, Rusty. Do you want to say hi? And just lay down. Yep, there's his tail. Tail will take all a minute to say hi. Say hi to Rusty. Yeah. I think you get me more views than anything else. I should just do a video and have a channel based on you exclusively doing nothing. Or waking me up at 4 a.m. with your incessant meowing and loud purring and wanting to be loved at such an early moment. Yeah, huh? Who's a good kitty? And you're dirty, too. You must have been rolling around in the goddamn dirt. Ugh. Anyways. Oh, you're on some comics that I'm going to be reviewing soon. Anyways, back to this. Rusty. Oh, you're shedding. Look at this hair. All over everything. Oh, you're a good kitty. But now whatever dirt you were in is all over my comic now. Jesus Christ, cat. Alright, so she drops the weights. And she's like, I don't think that life is for me, being a superhero. Like, I can barely hold myself together. And then, this is kind of funny. There's a quote I read somewhere that I think is applicable to your situation. Face your past without regret, handle your present with confidence, and prepare for your future without fear. Like, oh, that's actually makes sense. Who said that? I don't know. I saw it on Facebook somewhere. So that's kind of like a in-joke for me because, like, you know, I see so many things on Facebook and social media. I'm like, oh, I'm going to use that. Like, who actually, like, reads and goes to the library and stuff now and learns things except from social media? So they're all done at the gym. And they're like, come to my place. Like, no, when we get back home, because they live together, after work, like, let me show you something that might change your mind. I was like, what is it? And she says, it's something you lost. And this guy is watching them. And he's on his phone, and he says, target is on the move. Commence phase 1. See, people couldn't even see that, Rusty, because you're right in the way. Rusty. Just to get you in the spotlight. Okay, get out of here. I had to move my camera now. I have to readjust. Dude. Yes, you're so cute. So cute. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Huh? Alright. God, now I gotta readjust. I'm gonna press pause. Yeah, so Rusty's here and he's just like hogging everything. I bet most of my viewers don't mind. They're like, yes, more Rusty, less of you yammering about your own shit. Maybe I'll put that in the title. John reads his own comic, plus an extensive cameo by the cat Rusty. And people will be like my highest rated video ever. Highest viewed. Anyways, so transitions to nighttime. So they're talking about Dwayne. And like, what are you going to do with him, about him? Like, what? Nothing. Because he's like, he's kind and caring. Maybe you guys can get, like she was saying, like, maybe you guys can be together. It's like, I don't want to talk about this right now. And they go in, and this place is called the Wolf Lair, this strip club. Girls, girls, girls. And as I was saying in one of my issues, I didn't know what city they were in. You know, was it a fictional city? Was it a real city? It didn't really matter. But I was putting a bunch of stuff, like she was in the Wolf Diner, and I was putting, you know, this is the Wolf Lair, like more things called the Wolf. And that name is based off an old boss who's now a friend. And his last name is Wolf, spelled that way. Rusty, oh my God, you're messing up everything. I get it. Jesus Christ. So I eventually just named it. I created the fictional city. I'm calling it Wolf City. So they go in and like, oh, this is weird. No one's at the front desk. And Bliss is like worried, and she opens the curtain. She's like, something's wrong. Yeah, something's way wrong. So we got this shot. And at the end of the last issue, the Covenant, I showed them in their headquarters, wherever they hang out. And the main bad guy, who we don't know who that is, just kind of this shadowed figure, he was saying he was going to send the Gladiator 6 after Bliss. So here's the leader of the Gladiator 6. And there's a bunch of bodies. This isn't a great drawing. There should have been more carnage, blood everywhere, dead bodies. Just like these guys basically went in there and slaughtered whoever was in this building, right? And they've got Dwayne there by the throat and his hands tied up. And he says, welcome to the arena. We've been waiting for you. And like the rest of the Gladiator 6, there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 surround Bliss right here. And he says, I am Atelius, leader of the Gladiator 6. Surrender to us willingly and we will spare the lives of your friends. He's talking to these guys. And Bliss is like, fine, whatever. I surrender. Just leave them out of it. Bliss I will come with you. Just leave Dwayne and Angelica out of this. And he's like, I like this shot of him. I think I did this out of my head. I mean, I referenced like the armor for all these guys at some point. But I must have I might have done my own hand there. I don't know. But I like the blade coming, pointing at her, breaking the borders. He's like, foolish girl, I wasn't speaking to you. I was addressing her. And Bliss's eyes in shock and horror and what? She's like, Angelica? Like, why are they talking to her like that? Like, the whole thing was like they wanted Bliss, right? So what's going on? So the Gladiator 6, like, they yank her away. This one, supposed to be like kind of a tall, female gladiator, like restrains Bliss. And Dwayne is here, his hands tied, and he's like kind of looking up. I kind of like all this art I've done. Sometimes like I look at it so much I don't realize, but it was hard drawing all these intricate outfits of these Gladiator 6, especially when I tried and show shots of like all 6 of them plus other characters in there. It's a lot of work to do. It's kind of time consuming. But as you can see here, the musical notes are going. And if you know my other videos, that indicates that there's some music starting to play. And in every every comic I've done in Bliss so far, I've had some piece of music to put, like I put lyrics in of a song so I could have music in the comic. So you would read the lyrics and trigger the song in your mind, so you would your mind would fill in what kind of music and what kind of tone is supposed to be going for the comic, right? What this is the Michael Jackson song, Beat It. So, dun 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 dun. And so Dwayne knocks into this leader here. He's like, Bliss! And here it comes, Robert. Sorry. They told him, don't you ever come around here. Don't want to see your face, you better disappear. The fire's in their eyes and their words are really clear. Joe, beat it. Just beat it. Woo! So he knocks into her. He's like gonna fucking stab Bliss, but she even though she's restrained, she throws up her 2 legs, kicks him in the face, knees her in the stomach, and then does like a judo flip of this woman. You better run, you better do what you can. So these other 2 guys are like still coming after Angelica. And as they grab her, they turn to look because Bliss is yelling, hey! She comes and does this awesome jump kick, hits this one guy, busts him through a table somehow. Don't want to see no blood, don't want to see no blood, don't be a macho man. You want to be tough, better do what you can, so beat it. But you want to be bad. So she kicks the one with her left, and I meant to, it was supposed to be in one swoop. Kicks one, and then with her right leg, like while she's still in the air, swings around and kicks the other. Hard to, maybe I could have done it better to like show that, but it doesn't really matter. Kicks one, kicks the other, kicking the shit out of these guys as best she can. And then like a cool like homage shot. Just beat it, beat it. No one wants to be defeated. Showing how funky strong is your fight. It doesn't matter who's wrong or right. Just beat it as she's beating. Just beat it as she's beating. Just beat it as she's beating. Just beat it. So, you know, she's just like taking on all these guys here. Kicks at this girl, punching this guy, like kneeing this guy. And this is just a cool shot of her down here. So Attilius, with Dwayne, who's going after him, just kind of knocks him away and brings out this whip. They're out to get you, better leave while you can. Yeah, I would too with that whip. Don't want to be a boy, you want to be a man. So he's like whipping. I like all the action lines I put in here. It's like he's coming at her with this thing. And she like looks down and grabs this like drink tray. You want to stay alive, better do what you can, so beat it. He like whips at her. And it's like, those whips are like fucking deadly, and then a guy as like dangerous as this just like cracks right through that shield that she had. You have to show them that you're really not scared. As he whips at her again, but she dodges that one. He whips at her again. She dodges that. You're playing with your life. This ain't no truth or dare. This one, he whips at her, but it wraps around her hand, and she kind of catches it. And they're struggling right here. They'll kick you, then they'll beat you, then they'll tell you it's fair. And she yanks on him, kind of like pulling it out of his hand as she jumps at him to do this like Superman punch. So beat it, but you want to be bad. Then this awesome shot of her just like knocking him right in the fucking face. And like knocking his goddamn, looks like his head off, but it's just his helmet. I kind of envision like old school video games, like I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game where you have to fight Shredder, and at the very end, like that arcade game that was also on the Nintendo. But when you're fighting Shredder, like you hit him enough, and you know he's down to being beaten when his like helmet flies off, kind of the same thing. So the same song is going, just beat it, no one wants to be defeated. I always like that. I actually was at it was an art show I was able to kind of showcase some of my stuff at, along with a bunch of other people, but I put some like original pieces up in frames, and I put these 2 pages in there. That's all I had. I only had the 3 issues at the time. So she does this like cool shot of like hitting him. She's doing pretty good. But the odds are not in her favor. They're 6-1. And even though she's a badass, she's like, these guys are prepared. She's not. And they start to get the better of her. This guy with his axe swings at her, cuts her in the back, punches her there, elbows in their face, punch to the gut, punch to the face, punch to the face. She's on the ground now. Kick. I like this, like looking up at this lady, kicking her in the stomach. He's choking her right here, stomping on her face, punching her, punch, 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 kick, punch. Just there's nothing she could do, right? And I liked how I start with 1 panel, 2 panels, 3 panels, 4 panels, and 5 panels. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 panels right here. I always like this page with the panel layout I did there. So they have her dead to rights. She's done for, right? Like, she is not going to get out of this. And this guy's holding her up by the hair and has a sword. And for whatever reason, I didn't make any personalities in the comic, but I had personalities in my mind. And this guy is just like probably like the douchiest of them all for whatever reason. He just wants to like maim and kill, especially women. He's just ready to like, you know, be the scummiest of scum. Like, he's the first one to go after her there. He's ready to like slit her throat there. But he's told to stop. And the leader says, "We have captured the angel," right? "And we were given specific orders not to kill the girl." but nothing was said of saving her. So we don't have to kill her, but we don't have to save her. Kind of a Batman Begins thing. And so he says, torch the club. Is a light right there. And Angelica comes running up. Her name's Angelica. They're calling her the Angel. What's going on with that? We'll find out. Her not lifeless body because she's not dead, but she's just lying there beat down. And Angelica says, like, come on, you have to get up. You have to keep fighting. You have to. And she touches her on the forehead right there. She says, you have to remember. And then there's just this church, this memory or whatever of a church. Like something, what is going on here? It's like she put something into her mind, like a memory into her head. And they drag her away. Let's go, princess. And she's like, no, Bliss. There's a continuity error here. I don't even know if I've noticed it. Her hair's in the ponytail there, but it's out here. So as you can see, like there's already fire going up, smoke, and like Bliss is on the ground and there's fire just surrounding her. It's like the club is in flames and they're leaving her to die and to burn. So we cut to, here's the Red Squire. I think his arm is a little bit better. I don't know how long it's been. It's probably, like, I don't give timelines of like how long. There's probably been like weeks in between each one. So he says, we've just received word from Gladiator 6. They have acquired the woman and are en route with her now. He's like, excellent. The time is nearly upon us. But he's like, he says, the key is still missing. Won't we need it to unlock the power that we seek? And this, the bad guy, this cloaked figure, he says, do not worry yourself with these minor details, Squire. The plan is taking shape as we speak. What of the girl? Will she not retaliate? What happens when she learns the truth? What is the truth, right? That's the mystery I'm trying to set up. And he says, let her come. And then there's this skull that the bad guy is looking at. It's kind of weird design. This thing in its forehead. What's this little slot for? She may not like what she finds. So this is the Dragon Reaper. This is the guy that we saw in the previous issue in a flashback, who killed his master, from what we see. Boy, like the perspective on this is all weird. These fucking dudes here. How did I make these guys look like fucking tiny men? Like they're not on, like, so gosh, it's embarrassing. Usually when you put people, like if they're on the same plane, even he doesn't look like, he looks smaller than him. Like this guy's a giant. This, I don't know. When you put people on, like in a perspective, like the farther away back they go, the smaller they are, the closer something is, right? Like the closer something is bigger. Anyways, you know what I mean. Closer it is, bigger, farther away back, smaller. So that's what there is. But if people who are approximately the same height, give or take a few inches, like you want to put some point on them that is all the same, whether it's like their head is all on the same plane or their waist or their like shoulders or something like that. So it looks like the perspective is right. I didn't do that on any of these things. How was I just like done? Like it was the last page. I'm like, I got it. I can't do it, you know? Like, I'm just done. I'm just exhausted. These guys should be higher or bigger. Yeah, so anyways. But hopefully that doesn't really matter. Like, the point is, like, it's not a shock reveal. I don't see anybody was, like, truly shocked. But the bad guy at the end of the last one who's hooded was the Dragon Reaper. Cool? So the next issue in Bliss number 4, The Truth of the Dragon Reaper. We're going to find out what's actually going on. And then there's this cool image, which ends up being the cover to the final issue, number 5, not number 4. So there we go. Thank you again for listening to this, like, I tend to ramble on about these issues. I mean, it's just one 24-page comic, but I have a lot to say about these, about what I do, and I hope it's kind of worthwhile for some of you, especially those who try to make their own comics or are interested in the process. Maybe you can see, like, you can be inspired by what I've done. If you're thinking about doing something and want to make your own, which I highly recommend, like, get out there and do it, find a way to do it. But I really thank everybody who's shown an interest in some of these. There's a few names that I'm going to mention at some point that I want to just, like, who's always been commenting, and I feel like I got a few followers and a few dedicated ones that I'm really appreciative for. I want to do like a special video to call out some of these names at a later time. But anyways, thank you for watching, especially if you watched to the end. Let me know if you have any thoughts, questions, anything about this. This is issue number 3. I'll be doing issue number 4 and 5 at some point, and probably doing the rest maybe at a later date. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, I will see you in the next video.